situation. Even when I thought it was over, yeah, you came and wrapped me in your arms. Just get ready to get started. Ready now? Storms keep raging on. I close my eyes, cause that's the way I can hear your voice. And I shut my mind from all the troubles that just may come. Right. And I trust your word, cause that's the way I keep holding on. Oh, as long as the sun rises, right. Okay. You have to find a word. Oh, yeah, come on, let's okay. Yeah. Right. Looking for people to join. Hello. Hi. Right. Sean, how you doing? Tunde, welcome to the Blue Sofa Rika.
Welcome.
Hi, Brendel. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Brendel.
Hi, Lady B.
Yeah. Right.
Hey, Lady B.
Yeah.
Hey, Arika. It's been a while. Tunde, hey.
Sean, I'm guessing that's Sean Lily. Sean, is that you? Am I right? Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us this evening. Okay, we're just gonna wait for a few more people to join in, and then we'll get started. Hey, Sean, so good to see you. Right. Lockdown live. Not sure who that is.
You know who that is.
Oh yeah, I think I do actually. Right. Okay, so we're just gonna wait for a few more people to join in.
Hey, Shubi.
Hi, Shubi. Right. Timmy. Okay. Right. We're gonna get started in a little while.
Hey, Rachel.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, well, you're right. You're right. I fell asleep first.
So movie night, he always falls asleep. I sometimes do.
Hi, T-Mac. Hi, Timmy. Right. Okay. So, good evening to everyone taking the time out to join us this evening. Fumi.
Hello. Hey, welcome. Hey, T-Mac. Hi, Larry. How are you doing?
Larry, yeah. Right. Okay. So, yeah, Fumi, do you want to get started then?
Okay, cool. Well, welcome for this week. This is week 5.
Yep.
Week 5. For those that have been joining, we appreciate you.
Shari, there's a story to the matching out. We'll get to that later. All right. Okay.
So I hope for those that joined us last week, hope you enjoyed. I mean, we were talking about relationship revelations in this period of lockdown, and we had the lovely Manny and Lisa join us and share their secrets. And it was great. So if you haven't listened to it, then please go to YouTube. We have uploaded it so you can watch last week's session. That's Blue Sofa session 4. They revealed a little bit about their relationships. They shared with us how they are learning to deal and to compromise. They shared some tips with regards to speaking to their spouse, not having argument. Lisa said that when she realized that she wasn't making as much progress when she was trying to speak to Manny about their quiet time with the kids, she decided to report him to God. And shortly afterwards, there was progress.
Yeah.
So it was a great session. So please listen to it or re-listen to it if you want to. And we appreciate Manny and Lisa for joining us last week.
Yeah, that was, and to be honest, I knew that Manny and Lisa would never, I knew it was going to be a really good one because, they have a very good way of being down to earth with their own life stories and all that, which was really what we needed to hear on the Blue Sofa. So that was really, really, really good. In fact, I felt like, like God was speaking to me in that session. So that was definitely very good. So in terms of some updates from my own end here, because for me this is not just about getting putting up a show. I also want to be able to learn from it as well. So I'm happy to let you guys know that I'm still doing very good. I'm spending time with the family. Yeah, I'm spending time with the family. A lot of time, I think.
Well, so for those that don't know, so a few weeks ago when Pastor Bims was on with us, we said that although we're in the same house, sometimes it's me down in the kitchen table with the kids doing the homeschooling, working from home, etc. Whereas my husband's upstairs by himself, enjoying his own time with and working from home. So following that, he's decided to join us in the kitchen. So we're all in together. So actually, we can actually say that we're spending more time together. So yeah. Okay, so that's good. Now the other thing as well is this, right? She actually got me she didn't know I was going to say this. She got me a nice toy this week. Now she's wondering what toy she got me. So she got. I'm going to describe the toy, and I want you guys to guess what toy she got me, right? So this toy has got some LED lights, right? A nice looking LED lights. It's got a nice alloy, sort of steering and all that. Can anybody guess what she got me? Anybody? Can anybody guess? It's not quite a toy. Well, can anybody any guesses or no guesses? I'm gonna reveal it now. Right? Okay, well, she got a new. Oh, look, Shade got it. A vacuum. Oh, yeah. Look, Hoover. Yeah, so she got this nice Hoover. Now, I must say that I'm still enjoying it. Like boys love their toys, right? So I'm enjoying it. I'm using it, but I'm sure that I'm going to get bored of using it soon. I'm sure I'm allowed to get bored. Am I? No. Yeah, but definitely it's I think for so long, because we've had like cleaners in, it's not been something that I'm used to doing. But at least someone recommended to Fumi a few weeks ago that she should get me a vacuum cleaner, and she's got that. So so far so good, I think. Yeah, I was surprised that you read the manual. Of course. Normally, when we open things, my job is to read the manual. His job is to just put it together. So I was surprised. I think I went to, was I at work? Yeah, I was at work. And by the time I came home, unpacked and everything, read manual, I was surprised. No, but to be fair, that manual, there was nothing to read. There were just photos in there. So we were like putting together Lego, so that was easy. But so you didn't really read the manual, you just looked at the photos. Well, there was nothing to read. I put it together. So that's all we need to know. At least it works, and it works very well. Okay. So someone was asking about why we are dressed in matching outfits. By the way, this outfit we had it over the Christmas holidays, and I thought, well, if we're celebrating 4 weeks, even though it's session 5, it's actually 4 weeks of Blue Sofa, and the reason why we thought it was important to be able to celebrate it in this way is because when we started, it was just like, well, let's see. Well, we take it a week at a time. I weren't sure whether we're even going to make it to week 2. So the fact that we're here, week 4, the feedback has been good, So we thought, let's give it some sort of celebration. So, in Nigeria, when you're partying, you do what we call anko. So this is the only 2 sort of, matching outfit. And we're also going to pop a little bit of bubbling, right? So we're celebrating Blue Sofa. Yay! I hope you guys have your Blue Sofa session 5. Please join us with your glass of juice as we celebrate. Hope it will be consistent. Thank you. Well, we'll see. We're not making any promises. So far, we are loving it. So, to more Blue Sofa sessions. Cheers. Oh, the matching outfits. Yes. Okay. Yeah. We should do more matching outfits. Mom, no. No, I don't think we can do more matching outfits because this is the only one we have. So don't expect any more. It's not actually. What have we got? There's the other one. I think it's blue or something. We had it. It's quite old.
No, I think this is the only one we'll do for now. But we're taking sponsorship. If you want to send, we'll send you our sizes so you could actually do some nice ones if you want. That's just a joke. But I don't think I would wait for long. Right. So this week, what are we talking about?
So, well, we thought we'd talk about what interesting thing have you learnt or seen over the last week?
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, some of you guys might have seen this YouTube, no, actually, it was a Facebook video about this guy budgeting and stuff like that. If you've seen it, could I just see
budgeting and dating?
Yeah, budgeting and dating. Has anybody seen that budgeting and dating video? Yeah, so wave at me if you've seen that. Anyone seen that? Okay. A few people have seen that. Yeah.
Maybe you want to describe what happens in the video.
Okay, I think you're probably better doing that.
Okay, so basically, this guy was saying that he's single and he went on a date with a lady, and he was thinking about the second date anyway. So the lady messaged him and said that she would like to go to this particular restaurant for the second date. And he looked at that response and he thought, now he knows that restaurant and he felt that...
No, he did a research on the restaurant.
Oh, he did research. Okay, yeah. Okay, so he did some research on the restaurant and he thought, oh, wow, that's a bit that's outside of my budget for dating. So he has a budget for dating. And so he thought, okay, so how does he break it to the lady? So he decided to send her a message back to say, do you know what? I would like to go on a second date with you, but not to this restaurant because it would take me outside of my dating budget. But we can go to that restaurant next month. I'll make sure it's in my budget for next month. If we're still dating, yeah. So I think the video's gone viral.
Yeah.
People are basically speaking about it, and there are different kind of schools of thought. So what are your thoughts? So do you think it's right to have a budget for dating? Do you think it's right for the lady to actually suggest a particular restaurant, which was not a cheap restaurant, so it was an expensive restaurant for a date? Do you think that's right? So we were having a conversation yesterday about it.
Yeah.
And I was saying that
someone's a correct guy. Okay, well, absolutely. See, the guys are speaking already now, right? So it would be good to hear your feedback on this idea. But yeah, we were speaking yesterday.
So we were speaking about it, and I felt that whilst it was only the second date, so he could suggest that maybe we go to a different restaurant. But I thought that the way that you communicated it could have been better. I think it's a conversation rather than a message.
Now, I gave that whole idea a lot of thought, even today actually, and I thought to myself that whilst I might not do what the guy did in the way that he did it, but I rate him highly because I thought, you see, when it comes to dating, I mean, what she did, she showed her real self, her true self, by saying, look, this is my level, or this is the level I want to be at, right? And for the guy not to reveal his own real self, I think that would be, that would be putting up a mask, in my view. Now, you might disagree with that, but the fact that the guy has even a dating budget, I think is a great thing. It tells me that is actually a guy to be with. Now, for the first date, who does that? I don't know. For me, that is a red flag right there for a lady, indicating which restaurant she wants to go to on the second date. I barely know you, and you're already giving this sort of criteria and standards. I think that just sort of puts me, in a very, very difficult situation. Whether I would say the way the guy said it, I'm not sure, right? But it does help. In fact, I think it helps to filter out potentials, put it that way. Because there are many guys out there, many ladies out there. So rather than the guy sort of having hopes that this could be the lady, or the lady having hopes that this could be the guy, we're showing ourselves, this is who I am. You know, you don't have to like me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with me, you know, but this is who I am, you know. So we actually did a bit more research about the situation. In fact, we understand that the lady responded, but we couldn't actually find the lady's response. But we did a bit more research today, and we found out. I guess when Fumi found out the amount they would have spent at that restaurant,
no,
she changed her mind about the guy.
No. I don't think it's not. I think it's a good idea to have an overall budget plan for your spending. That is wise, yeah. But I think that the way you communicate things is important, and I think that communicating via message is just not right.
Yeah,
I think there's a conversation.
But she communicated via message.
Yeah, but I still think that if you're going to say no, I think you should have a conversation about it.
No, but listen, he didn't say no quite outrightly. He said, look, I can't afford to do it within my budget this month. If we're still dating next month, I will take you to the restaurant. So, okay, tell the viewers how much it will cost to go to that restaurant.
Okay, so when I heard how much it would cost, it was £500 or dollars.
$500.
$500 it would have cost to go out to that restaurant. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, so yeah, no.
So now
I could understand.
So now that you know that it would have cost about $500, particularly to the ladies now, has that changed your view about the guy? Yeah, we're just taking your feedback. People are saying, you know, yeah. So now that you know that $500, has that changed anything? Who's spending $500? That's what the lady wanted, $500 on the second date.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like the have we spent $500 on a dinner? I don't know that we have.
No.
But that's a lot of money for a second date, maybe like, I don't know, a bit further on, or, I mean, I don't know the lady's perspective. Maybe she was trying to see where the guy was at. I don't know, so I can't defend her. But I do think that having a conversation would have been much better in actually sharing that. Food shopping for how many weeks? $500. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
The guy should run.
No, but also we found out that the guy, and she should have known this, right? Because if I'm going to date a lady, I'll find out as much information as possible about the lady. And I would expect that she would do the same about me. So this guy, for his day job, right? What does he do again for his day job?
So he's some kind of financial expert. He's written books on budgeting. He's written a book on, I think debt-free degree. Yeah. So he works with, or he does a lot of speaking things and so on. His name is Anthony O'Neill. And so he's a best-selling author. And so budgeting is his thing. Yeah. So now you kind of understand budgeting is his thing. So you can understand why he would have a budget. And I don't think it's wrong to have a budget for things in your life. But the way it was communicated just seemed a bit harsh.
Yeah. Now, from a scriptural point of view, again, because usually for me, I don't like to just build something around my own personal opinion, right? I like to find a way to anchor it to scriptures. And I saw earlier on in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, where the philosopher, or Solomon, as we know, to have written Ecclesiastes, was talking about the fact that when you make a vow before God, right, you should fulfill it. Now, you're wondering, well, what does that vow have to do with making or going on a date or blowing your budget? I think that anybody that cannot stay with, and this is, I mean, I'm actually not there yet myself, but if you make a vow, a commitment to yourself to live within a certain standard, a certain lifestyle, I think you should be able to follow through on that. Personally, that's the way I look at it, right? Because a person that cannot stay consistent with his own real values, if he tells you I do, how is he not going to be able to change his mind?
Yeah, true.
You know, because if it's that fluid with particularly knowing that this guy, that is what his life is about. If it's that fluid with the core of his person, then he's not going to be able to maintain a lasting relationship. You know, does that mean that okay? So now he says I do today, but then there's challenges tomorrow. Now he's going to move or he's going to shift. I think the lady missed an opportunity to date a very correct guy. You know, but it'd be nice to hear. The lady's response on the.
So someone said, "What if she can pay for those places?" It's true. If that's the lifestyle that she's used to,
yeah,
then should she kind of? Someone said, dumb down her lifestyle for this guy.
No, but the thing is, it's too early, right, to begin to set those levels. This is date 2. Do you understand? You know, what you're saying is, does that mean, what if the guy doesn't have a car and they're going on a date, right? If is there anything wrong with them going together on the train or there isn't a cab or whatever it is?
There isn't. But if I like a particular restaurant and I want to go there, I don't think there's anything wrong with me saying, can we go to this restaurant?
No, that's fine. But I also don't think there's anything wrong in him saying, look, this is who I am. Yeah, there's nothing wrong in him saying this is who I am. In fact, I think there's everything wrong in him pretending to be who he's not. You know, then for her to now find out date 6 that this guy has been using credit card actually to pay for those dates.
Yeah.
Would you rather have that?
No. I like, to be honest, if it was me, I wouldn't be in that situation. And I think actually it's wise, because if she is, please pay for yourself, dear. Thank you. I think if I think wisdom. So, like if you're speaking with a guy or whatever, I think it's wisdom to understand the underlying motivation behind a decision. So if his motivation was because of budget, and that's true, then I think that's a genuine reason. And it's actually, that would be a keeper. I think that judging it based on, I don't know, external things is not important, but it's the internal things that matter, the matters of the heart. So if he's saying, and he didn't say no, he said next month he'll put it in his budget. So that means he's willing to be flexible. The fact that she didn't respond to messages, she didn't respond to calls, I'm not sure. I'd like to understand her point of view, but I'm not getting it.
Yeah. So, I mean, someone said there, what if it was the lady paying for the date?
So if you're a guy, and a lady offers to pay for the date because it's not in your budget, how would you feel?
Yeah. Any thoughts from the guys? If the lady wanted to pay for the date, I mean, I already told my wife my views on that, right? But it would be interesting to hear.
Beware of stingy guys. This guy does budgeting.
Yeah, but do you actually think this guy was being stingy?
Your game. Okay, go.
Okay, I'm game. Okay, who else?
Someone said their game, Jibs.
Okay.
I don't go for a date I can't afford.
Yeah.
Gladly ask my wife. Lisa. But will they say they don't mind lies?
No, but think about it though. As a guy, personally, right?
For my wife, split the job. We split the bill. That's nice. Okay.
Yeah, I think Fumi and I were trying to remember
our first date.
Our first date, yeah. And she was saying that you said you felt that you thought that you paid for.
I'm not sure if I paid.
No, I don't think I would have allowed you pay for the first or second date. No, I don't think I would have ever allowed you to pay for that. You know.
I remember us having tapas.
Yeah.
We went to like a Spanish tapas thing. I think you probably hadn't been to a Spanish place before.
Yeah.
It was in Canary Wharf. So I remember us walking along Canary Wharf. So I think that was the first date.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have allowed you to pay for it. That I know. Anyway, so we just wanted to touch on that. I mean, we could actually spend the whole afternoon or evening talking about this conversation about budgeting. For me, it's actually not a conversation about dating per se. it's really on the principles underlining that for me is the real deal. Because if my daughter came back home and said to me, "Oh, Dad, I met this guy and he won't take me on a date because he has a budget that he's trying to stick to."
Not that he wouldn't take me on a date.
Well, he wants to take me. He's happy to take me on a date,
Yeah.
right? But then he has a budget that he sticks to. I will find that guy very interesting. I would like to meet the guy.
Yeah, but I think, like there are ways, like you can get 2-for-1 deals, there are ways to do dating on a budget. So
yeah, but she didn't want
not
that.
A date.
She didn't want that.
But that wasn't, he didn't ask her, can we try another restaurant, did he?
No, it was clear in his message though.
Okay.
It was clear in his message. What he said was that, look, I'm happy to go to this restaurant next month. Let's say all he has left on his dating budget this month is $100, right? So he's happy to go on a date even this month, but not just to the $500 restaurant.
Yeah. No, fair. I mean, $500 second date. That's that's a bit much.
Right. Anyway, I mean, this is. I must put a caveat in this now. We've not heard from the lady, so we're not judging the person because we've not heard our own side of it. We are just dealing with the story as we know it. So it would be nice to hear what she has to say about that. But as a principle, I think it's quite a conversation that splits opinions, particularly along the lines of gender, pretty much. I think my wife said it yesterday that she didn't think you were not the one that said it wasn't romantic. Truly.
No, someone said
the message is not romantic, right? But the principle behind it is sound.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Yeah, right. So this week we did mention that we wanted to talk about to see whether we are keeping or doing something productive pretty much in a lockdown and being honest with ourselves, and we wanted to find out from you guys if you don't mind sharing with us if there's any, if you're making the most of this lockdown situation, and if you just let us know. So for us, for example, now this Blue Sofa Sessions is one thing that we've decided to do to sort of make the most of the lockdown situation, right? And so far it's been good, and that's actually the reason why we thought, 4 weeks, we're doing it for the last 4 weeks, and to give you guys context, this is Fumi and I, like, we're rarely on Instagram. Fumi's personal profile is still quite dormant. So to say from rarely being on Instagram now to having weekly sessions like this, I think it's a bit of it's some effort on our part, and every week we're like, oh God, just help us get through this, and it's fun. It's fun. We're loving it, but it's just we're making the most of it. One thing else that I actually noticed, I mean, from your end, I noticed that my wife's prayer life has changed in this time. Our daily devotion, the time she wakes up in the morning, my God, it's almost like she now wakes up before me. In fact, if I'm not careful, she'll be waking up before me. Which there's nothing wrong with that. But definitely our devotional life has picked up. So it would be nice to hear from you, how you're making the most of this lockdown situation or period, because the excuse that I don't have time to pray, or I don't have time to do this, or write my book, I don't have time can no longer be an excuse at this time. Someone said the internet. Oh no, okay. Right.
Is it still a bit fuzzy?
Okay, is that the case?
Is the internet fuzzy? It's breaking.
Right. Okay. Is
it any better now?
Is the internet okay for everyone, or is it just one person?
No, there's a couple of people, I think, flickering.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Is it any better?
Is it fine on YouTube? Your voice is going in and out, like a bit glitchy.
Right. Okay. Not sure why that is. Is it settled now?
Lots of crackling in the audio. It's better on YouTube.
Okay.
Better now? Better now? Okay.
It's better.
All right, thank you. It sounds better now. Okay. All right,
Okay.
continue.
All right. Yeah. So what we're asking of you, I've shared a few. For us, one of the things that we're doing to make the most of this season is blue sofa sessions, and it's been great. We don't know how long we'll carry on doing it for, but week in, week out, we're loving it. My wife's prayer life has really gone up, and that's exciting for me. So it'd be nice to hear from you guys, what you're doing to make the most of
this lockdown season.
Yeah.
I know, like first couple of weeks, I was just doing normal. I was eating, I was putting on weight, and I thought, this can't last. My clothes won't fit. So I think at that point I decided that I may as well. I think Pastor Bim said something about making the most of this season with like prayer or whatever. So because of that, I thought, okay, let me at least fast a bit more often. There's dual benefits, spiritual as well as physical benefits. And so I think that's helped me as well. Yeah.
I mean, I spoke with one of my guys yesterday, and I was quite impressed with what he's doing. So he told me that in the last 4 weeks, he's been volunteering with his charity, doing food drops for the homeless people in London. And every Saturday, really, that's what he does with the Saturday. In fact, I actually felt, I felt like, wow, this is really good, So, yeah, thanks, BC, for that. But, hearing from, so someone said they're finishing lots of books. Yeah, no, we know you to be a professor. Anything else? Passed a long time upcoming provisional exam. That's good. Yeah.
Made donuts. T-Mac, I want to taste some of these donuts, I think.
Okay.
Actually, maybe Lamide should comment on the donut making.
Well, I agree with that. It'd be nice to hear Lamide's thought on that. Right. Has anyone done anything, that, and I think the question I'm really trying to ask, okay.
Okay. Right. Lamide says, look, she's smiling. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So the question I really want us to answer.
Working out every day. Well done.
Wow, that's good.
I can't do that one.
Wow. Well, do you have a gym at home? That would be good to know.
Okay, sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, so what I was saying is that the question that I want us to use as a benchmark for this conversation is to ask ourselves that, what am I doing? Let me read out the question as I have it here. So what will you do at this time such that even if you were to fail, you will be highly commended for trying? Right? So using this blue sofa session for us now, next week if we decide not to have it anymore, which is not the case, we're going to carry on because we're loving it, and it's good to have it. Someone said picked up jogging, which is good. Trying to level up my business. Yeah, so a few responses on YouTube here. Yeah, Instagram gym classes. Okay, yeah. So if the question is, for us, these sessions that we're having, if we're to stop having it now because we kind of fell, we just couldn't carry it on, I would still say we did well for trying. Right. So it's that kind of going beyond your normal self to do something out of your own convenience, do something new, something that is, in a sense, beyond your reach. You've stretched yourself to get to that point. Does anybody have anything that they can? Wow, someone said join the army. Well, that is good. You join the army. Okay, well, as I would assume that's the TA, right? Started doing my own hair, okay, and nails. Wow, fantastic.
More by force, to be honest.
Upskilling and prepping for, that's good.
Opportunities.
Right, yeah, okay. So anyone else, that if you were to even stop doing it now, it would feel as though you've tried and you'll be happy that at least you made the effort. Okay. Any other thought? Right. So, but now I found that, and this is actually in light of one of the other things that I managed to do in this time. I mentioned last week that my book, Fearless, we actually wrote the book, Fearless. It was actually meant to be. Yeah, we did. We did. We actually did. T-Mac, your detox from football.
T-Mac, detox from football.
That wasn't by choice, though. You didn't have a choice on that.
So when it comes back on, are you going to be less, what's the word? Less addicted to football, shall we say?
Yeah. Right. So writing the book for me was one of those, or I'd already written the book, and it wasn't so much a new thing, but getting the book published in this season was quite a good thing. But I think above all is the idea, because the book about fear or learning to overcome our fears to a point whereby you can do things that you not otherwise do, you know. So I want us to have a conversation about that, because I've spent a lot of time researching that. I find that a lot of people don't attempt stuff because of the fear of failing, you know. And would you say that that's your experience in certain regards? Are there things that you've put aside because you're not sure that you'll be able to see through, you know, maybe failing or staying consistent with it? So you rather not try because you don't want to start something and then just stop, you know? So any thoughts on that? Any thoughts?
You know, one thing I was thinking about was that, like sometimes the word fear, we don't like to use, but like kind of other words that are similar to fear, worry, anxiety, doubt, these things kind of we may be more willing to use. Mm-hmm. So we might say, okay, I have doubts about this, or I'm worried about this, or I'm anxious about this. But the word fear is like, it's so, it's almost like it's so final, you know, and we don't really want to acknowledge our fear. So like, I'm more willing to say I have doubts about this, or I'm a bit uncertain or worried about it, rather than actually saying fear.
Yeah. No, but that is true, but unless you're able to name, well, at least identify the feelings that you're feeling, is it just doubt because you don't have enough information, or at the core of it, it's actually real fear? Unless you're able to identify that, then you'll be able to move forward. You know, there's a scripture that came to mind as I was thinking about this, Matthew chapter 14. I'm just going to read it very quickly. I mean, it's a scripture that we all know anyway. Perhaps I don't need to read it. Well, a lot of us know it. I'm going to just summarize it. You know, I mean, Jesus' disciples were on the water in a boat, and Jesus was walking towards them. And initially they were scared. You know, they didn't know what was happening. But then in order for them to eventually they found out who it was, that it was Jesus. And then Peter said to Jesus, "If it's you, ask me to come." Right? And for me, obviously, amongst all the other 12 disciples there, number one, it was the only one that was willing to take that daring move, right? So a lot of times we focus on the fact that Peter, well, he started something, but he failed. But it's not quite a failure, because at least he dared to step out, you know? And I mean, I can tolerate failures in any way, right? But what I cannot really deal with is not starting something, because if you never start, you actually never know whether you get a chance to finish it or not. So there are many people that are stuck in a place because they're not sure whether they should start a course. You know, in fact, the other day there was this course on in Harvard. I'm sure some of you guys will probably know about the course that was put on the internet for free in Harvard. I went on to register, but obviously it had been booked up. But the point that I'm making is that there has to be that desire or drive to start, even if you can't see clearly, how you're going to finish that, but the willingness to at least start it has to be there. Even if you fail at the first attempt, at least you can say that, well, I tried this, it didn't work. In fact, I've come to know that the failure is on the critical path to success. And usually with my wife, I tend to have to encourage her a lot of times to step out.
I remember like when I was doing my professional exam, so I'd completed the first part and it was the second part, and I was kind of not really delaying, but like I would find that the more I read or studied for this exam, the more I felt I didn't know. So I'm not ready for this exam. So I'm not ready in the sense to kind of fail the exam, kind of thing. So I agreed with my husband when I should take the exam. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it in, I think it was like in the autumn. And then when it got close, I was like, oh, I don't know enough. I can't do this. I'm going to fail. All these questions, I'm not going to be able to answer it, and so on. So anyway, so he asked me, did I register for the exam? And I said, no. He said, why not? I said, because I don't feel ready. So then he said, okay, so you're going to do it next time. And I was like, yes, I'll do it next time. So because of that, I had to register for the exam. So I did it in the spring and I actually passed. And like, even looking back, I'm thinking, did I actually pass? Because I feel like, I don't know, for me, I feel like there's so much to know, to learn. I'm never going to know it all, but do I even know enough, but I passed that exam and I'm grateful because that was like a stepping stone for me getting to the next level in my field. And that was because of him, really, because of his encouragement, support, pushing, driving, and a lot of the times I like to have a lot of information before kind of I commit to something. So like, even like, let's say buying the vacuum cleaner, as simple as that can be, I need to research. I need to look at the reviews. Once I've decided on the actual brand that I want, I then need to research and find out which, where I can get it for the most cost-effective price. So it can take me a long time to make a decision and buy something, purchase something. But over the years, kind of being with my husband, that time has shortened. But I always like to have a lot of information. So thank you for pushing me.
Oh, no, that's all right. Well, you see, the thing is, I mean, if I, for me, the way my philosophy about a lot of things is I jump, right? Then I build my, the platform on which I'm going to live. Yeah. If I know half of what, in terms of, well, because I know Fumi very well, right? When she says, oh, I don't know enough, I know that she knows enough to pass the exam. If I mean, because of the preparation that has gone into it. But oftentimes, it's called exactly paralysis of analysis. You're overthinking it. You just never do anything because the conditions will never be right to do anything. And that is why it's important at this time, in this season, for us to really, sort of not just overthink stuff, businesses, ideas, books that you want to write. Obviously we can't go on holidays now, but at least begin to dream and plan those holidays to come. So just think about how you're going to make the most of the seasons to come, and begin to take steps towards it. One thing that has always helped me is I don't take big steps, right? And I learned a lot of that from Pastor Shola, my lead pastor. One of the things that I do is that if I know that they say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? So if I want to write a book, I'm not focusing on the whole book. I'm focusing on a subsection of a chapter that I can do. I can write a subsection of a chapter in a day, and in 30 days, I've written, a few chapters, right? If I want to start a business,
I can start off by, opening a bank account today. In fact, the other day there was an idea that we had for my business. Many of us, many of the viewers know that I run a property development business, and actually I'm going to do a session on my thoughts on what will become of the property market in some time to come. So you can stay tuned for that. Right. So anyway, there was an idea that came to us in the business, and I thought to myself, what do I need to do now with this idea, right? As we're developing and forming the idea, the first thing I did was I just went and I bought the domain name. I bought the domain name because there's no, I mean, at least I want to know that I put something in that promised land and I'm working towards it, But most people will just, wait until everything is set before they do anything. Why?
Huh?
What?
Not everything, but a bit more information.
Yeah. Well, how much is enough information?
But if he has an idea, it's gone.
Yeah. You gotta go. Because if you don't go, you'll still be sat, in the same place for some time thinking about all the conditions being right. And the other thing that I do is that when I have an idea, right, I make myself accountable to someone. So once you give an idea a voice, it's not just in your head now, So all the exams I've ever done in my life, exactly, just do it. All the exams I've ever done in my life, I've booked them, I booked the exam, and I start to prepare.
Whereas now I need to know that I'm a little bit ready.
No, because you see, it's not. I know that I cannot allow my money to go to waste. So I book the exams and I begin to prepare myself. If it means having sleepless nights, I prepare myself towards it. So that, in a sense, it's a way of ensuring that I'm accountable, not just to myself, and I make sure that I tell someone close to me that, look, I'm sitting this exam. You don't even need to ask me for me to tell you that I'm sitting an exam, So coming back to where we are in our lives, as it were, I'm sure that, different people have different things going on and all that. But what we're just trying to say is that at this time, in our lifetime, unless God decides to do something and is not outside of God's ability to do, we will never have a time like this again. But I want to be able to put a stake in the ground and say, look, in this time, this is what I did. This is what came out of this time. I could look at a book, or I could look at a YouTube and see, a number of videos that people are still watching even years after, to see that, okay, well, at least I did some things, and that is the point that we're trying to make here right now. That in this season, how would you say that being honest, would you be able to say that you really made the most of this time? If not, we don't know when the lockdown will be over. Are you still able to do something about it? So that's the thought that we wanted to sort of share this season, or sorry, today rather, and also for us to get rid of the excuses. A lot of things that people talk about, oh, okay, well, the kids or whatever, a lot of them are excuses. Pastor would say that those that make excuses never make progress, because there would always be a reason not to. Someone said that the way you know an excuse is whether if it was, would that same excuse apply if it's something that you really want to do? So someone could say, okay, well, I'm not able to right now because the kids are at home. But can you watch TV if the kids are at home?
Yeah,
exactly. So it's an excuse, and the only way to get rid of an excuse is just to do it anyway, right? So I think there are some comments or questions. Right. So someone said, Pastor Banks, are you saying that it's better to try and fail than never attempt at all? Yes, 1,000 times. It is better to try and fail than never attempt at all. It's better to try and fail than never attempt at all. That's right. I think we've actually pinned a few questions, and
you can only pin one at a time, I think.
okay.
So it says, Pastor, are you always accountable to the person who had achieved far more than what you want to achieve, or the person who has not done much for themselves, as we have many dream killers around?
Right, and that's actually a good question. So for me, the someone that hasn't quite, so you make yourself accountable to different people in different areas of your life, right? If I'm going to make myself accountable to someone in the area of my business, it would be someone that is probably doing what I'm doing or gone ahead of me, or someone that I know that has my best interest at heart. So my spouse, for example, who I'm sure that would follow through with whatever I say to her in that sense. So yeah, but there are people that I won't even discuss my dream with, because I know that they're gonna quench it, right? So okay, so there's a question: how many times is it okay to try before stopping? How many times is it okay to try before stopping? There's a saying that most people quit just one step to getting a breakthrough. But the thing is, you just never know when that breakthrough will come, right? So it might help to get some sort of I call it strategic quitting. There's a time that carrying on no longer makes sense, But all we need to do is think about look back in history and look at the many inventions that were made, that we're enjoying right now. If the Wright brothers stopped trying, we wouldn't have aeroplanes as we have them today. If Henry Ford stopped trying, we won't have the cars as we have them today. Thomas Edison with the light bulb and all that, we won't have them as we have them today. So there is a point to stop trying, right? But I don't think that point is near enough for most of us. Maybe after 2 or 3 times of trying, people stop making moves because maybe they've expended their resources. They've given a bit of time to it. They've been knocked down 2 or 3 times. But at times, if you believe in something long enough and you push hard at it, the door would open at a point. Yeah.
I think someone said it also depends on what you're trying to achieve. And I think also, perhaps if you don't have a mentor, it's an opportunity for you to actually get a mentor, or to at least learn. Maybe there's something that you haven't got. But yeah, the guy.
Okay. Right. Someone else said that. So do you need a strong conviction about what you want to be, or do or be? Yes, you do. Because if it's just an idea that is not founded on conviction, it will be like a passing fad. You will lose interest after a while, but it has to be grounded for it to be sustained.
But what if you don't have a strong conviction, but you feel you want to put, I don't know, all your eggs in this basket? So I think there has to be a desire to push through with that thing. There has to be enough of a desire to push through with that thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't have the motivation to continue pushing.
Yeah, but I think we're saying the same thing though, because the thing is, when you say conviction, we're not talking about religious convictions now. We're talking about you believe in it enough to put all your resources into it.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is the key. Mm-hmm. Because after a while, after putting your resources in and you've run out of all your options, it's what you know on the inside of it that keeps you going. Right.
Someone said, what if they're trying and they're just not good at it? And someone else said, how did you select your mentor?
Wow. It'll be good to actually know who these people asking these really good questions are though. All I see is just the initials here. Right. So I'm going to answer the 2 questions. And I think we're coming.
But there's one other here that was this one says, sometimes feels like one is missing out. if still going into work daily and not working from home? How can one utilize the nuggets if current situation is even more stressful than before? Like, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, and for me it's actually, well, because last week we didn't quite finish the session last week. You're going to talk about that, so we'll probably have another session about in terms of work related issues now post COVID. You're talking about how that versus spending time at home, working from home, and how your work whatever might change and all that.
Yeah,
but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
No,
I was just going to say that. So I go to the office twice a week, and then I work from home 3 times a week. And life is stressful, but one of the things is that it takes me. It's quicker for me to get to work, and so whether there's time, even at work, where you can utilize that time to do other things. Yeah. So yeah. But do you want to finish those questions?
Right. So it says here, how did you select your mentor? Well, I think it depends on what it is that you're doing. So if it's career, then you're talking about selecting a mentor based on skill. And Pastor usually says that for those that attend Liberty Church, Pastor would say that it could learn from anybody. So I could put myself under anybody as long as they can guide me in the direction of that thing or the experience that I'm after. Now, I won't select a mentor for my marriage whose life does not reflect or model what I'm trying to build my own marriage to be like. So if I'm trying to build a multi-million pound business, which is the plan, I wouldn't be looking to somebody who's not already living that as an experience to mentor me in that area. So it's going to be based on number one, their results, in that area, and number two, their level of knowledge in that area, and number three, the values that they hold. So even though yes, they might show results in business, but are they straight or are they crooked people? They don't have to be Christian, but as long as they are straight, I can learn from you in that way. Even if they are crooked, I'm not going to just pick up the crooked bit. If that makes sense. Now, so I think that answers that question. Right. So must you put all your resources into one thing? I don't think so. I actually don't think so. Although it depends again on the theme. I remember I remember when I was about to start the property business. We had just sold. We had just actually refinanced one of our properties, and all the money that came out of that, I just put it in that one project, all of it. And guess what? I lost all of it in that one project, right? Now, but the point there is that I won't say that was all I had, because I still had, the property. I still had other resources, but it would depend on. It's not a quick decision. I mean, surely you won't make that kind of decision by yourself if you're married. You need to get counsel. Make sure that your mentor guides you in that direction, because it will be irresponsible not to consider it properly. Just to focus on one thing, particularly if you're responsible for other people. Right. So I think we've more or less come to the end of the session. So a few things to mention. So last week I mentioned that I just written a book, and I think I mentioned it this week as well, Fearless. So that will be launched in a couple of weeks.
Fearless the book?
Yeah, Fearless the book, yeah.
Register. The launch details are on Eventbrite. They're in Kinlad Bank's bio on Instagram.
Yeah, you on the Instagram. Some of you might have already got the email to that from Eventbrite yesterday. And on YouTube is also the very first comment in this session. So there's a link there. If you just copy that link, you can watch this session. I hope today has been good. Next week, what are we talking about next week?
Against all odds. So inspiring stories about overcoming the odds. to achieve extraordinary outcomes. So so we're going to have a look and see who we think about, who we think would make the best. If you have any ideas, then please send them in. So join us next Sunday, 5 o'clock. And as we said, the launch for Fearless the book is in just under 2 weeks' time on the 30th of May at 5 p.m. Please join us as we launch this book, Fearless.
Thank you. I'm not sure if this has logged us out, but on YouTube we're still on. But what I also want to mention is that if you have some ideas or some topics that you want us to sort of discuss on the Blue Sofa, I mean, we have so many ideas already, but we could always take some, at least encourages interaction.
Please send them.
So send your questions in, or comments, or conversation ideas in terms of like the story that we started off with about the budgeting stuff. If you have anything like that, Anyway, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the Sunday, and take care. See you again next Sunday. Bye.
Look, share to here.
Okay, but we're not on this. Yeah, just do that. That's all.
Video title appears on here. To select cover image. This is different.